watching SKST Radio.
Well, welcome to another episode of SKST Radio, and you're tuned into Small Business Network. And today I have a new friend. He goes by the name of Todd Mitchell. Hi, Todd. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. Happy to be here.
Well, thank you for being here. Man, I tell you, it's been a journey, huh?
Yeah.
Several months scheduling out, that's been a challenge for us here at the studio. So thank you so much for being here. I know it's been a while. So thank you. So tell us who you are and what you do for a living.
So my name's Todd Mitchell, and I'm the owner of Cybersecurity for Biz. And basically, I provide assistance getting small businesses into compliance with any state, local, federal, or industry regulations that they have to meet. For example, like medical people with the HIPAA, and the financial industry all needs to be PCI compliant with the payment cards, and they have a lot of other regulations on how they can handle your social security numbers and your bank account numbers and things like that.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that can snowball, considering with all the cyber, stuff that's going on. People are stealing people's accounts,
Yeah.
So do you get a break? How does that work?
Well, I got into this because I used to work for the federal government. I was in the military for 20 years, and I worked for the government for another 10 after that for the Marine Corps. And I'm retired Navy. And while I was I was developing software, which is heavily cybersecurity intensive, because the software we were developing was for the top secret military networks. And as we were doing this, a couple of my friends that own their own businesses got into situations where they needed some help. And I was trying to find somebody that could help them. And all the big names you see on TV and all the commercials you see, when you call these places up, they won't touch anybody that has less than 250 employees with computers and like $10 million a year in revenue. So if you're a solopreneur or, work in a private practice someplace and only have one or two employees, there's nobody out there to help you. So I ended up helping my friend in my spare time, and he convinced me to quit the corporate life, so to speak, and open my own business. So now this is what I do for a living, and I focus exclusively on less than 20 employees. My main target audience is 0 to 5 employees. So I'm the little guy helping all the other little guys.
Oh, wow. I absolutely love it. Okay. So what is the biggest challenge doing what you do?
I think the biggest challenge is creating awareness. That's why I love being on shows like this one and just kind of creating awareness out there. People have this misconception that a hacker is some guy in a hoodie in his mom's basement clacking away on a keyboard in the middle of the night. And that may be where ransomware and malware come from, but that's not how you get hacked. You get hacked. Over 90% of hackings and data breaches are caused by human error. We're our own worst enemies. We're the ones that share passwords. I mean, everybody is guilty of this. That's why Netflix is cracking down, because most people have a dozen people know their Netflix password. We don't have strong enough passwords, or we get lazy and we don't do data backups as often as we should, or we don't bother to keep our software up to date, so it's vulnerable to the issues with that is if there's a known way to hack into let's say QuickBooks, and QuickBooks fixes it, but you haven't done any patches to update QuickBooks, you still have that vulnerability, so all the bad guys know how to get in. So just these human behaviors, and that's what I'm trying to do is get people to just think before you click, so to speak.
I like it.
When you see that email saying that your rich uncle in Nigeria is going to send you $1 million if you send him $1,000 first, don't click it. That kind of stuff. But I think that's my biggest passion and my biggest struggle is just creating awareness for people to just be aware of the dangers that are out there and the things that they can do themselves kind of cheap, free, and easy just by changing their way they do business a little bit.
Right. You're dead on, because we recently had something going on here at the studio, and you know what? we came to the conclusion, I didn't, but everybody else did. We came to the conclusion that I was the problem. And they absolutely right. I was the problem. I am the person that logs on to every computer in this studio, opening up all my accounts, da 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 da. Well, it's my fault. And then we had employees come and go. So, we didn't change passwords. It's just everything you said is dead on. And that we have to be more cautious and more aware of what we're doing. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that's so crazy that you would say that.
I think of it like this. I like to put it into a non-computer analogy. We're in a growing phase right now. Now it's second nature. You teach you teach your children to look both ways before they cross the street. Women all know you don't leave your purse on the front seat of the car when you run into the store real quick. You hide it in the back seat under a coat, or you put it in the trunk or something like that. And what we need to do is build these computer safety behaviors kind of into just ingrained into society where everybody just knows this stuff growing up. And I think probably 20 years from now it will be, but right now we're kind of in that, the transition between the boomers and the millennials on who uses computers and how and things like that. So I think that's something that eventually will correct itself, but right now it's an issue.
Right, right. That is amazing. And another thing I found too, even just this morning, Todd, check this out. So I have like 5,000 friends on Facebook. Okay, so if I'm talking and chatting with you about whatever I'm chatting and talking to you about, and we've had conversation, then all of a sudden I see that you are inviting me to be my friend again in Messenger. And so now I've learned, okay, if we're already friends, why is he sending me another invite? So now I've learned that when they get those, and I had two of them in my mailbox today. And so now I've learned to go back and say to the actual owner of the account, hey, you've been hacked. Notify your friends, let them know, don't, you know, uh, answer the request to be a friend. And then I report them and I tell him, I send him a picture and I tell him, please report this on your end as well. And so
Right.
now I've learned that, and it used to freak me out. Oh my God, but now it's just like so common.
And it is. And this is the modern day pickpockets. Back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, they used to thump you over the head and steal your purse on a back street coming out of the movie theater or whatever. Nowadays, you can sit at home, hack into somebody's social media account, shoot out a message to all their friends and family, hey, I'm in trouble. I need $50 real quick so I can get back home or whatever. And two or three of them will send you the $50 before you can get a hold of the rest of them and tell them your account got hacked. So they make
Yeah.
a quick $100 and it cost them a couple of minutes worth of work. Yeah. That's very common. And I'm glad to hear that you used, that common sense of, wait a minute, why are they asking me for something when we already are talking about something else? My big fear is that the new popularity of artificial intelligence
I knew you was
is
going to say that.
because now what's going to happen is the bad guys are going to have artificial intelligence. So now it's going to look and see who you're talking to and what you're talking about. So it's going to start sending you fake emails or fake messages in social media that sound exactly like the conversation you were just having. So you won't even know if it's real or not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I was thinking about that because now I'm getting ready to start doing some blogging, some magazine writing, and AI is definitely on point.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, it's got plenty. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of ways to use it that is going to be really good in advanced society, help cure diseases, all kinds of scientific discoveries and research and things. 'Cause it's the ultimate data correlator. It can search the whole internet and come back and find what's relevant and not, and save you hours of reading through documents. But the bad guys can use it to help them just as well. So what we really need, and that's something maybe all your listeners can take up as a mission. We need people to start beating on their congressmen and senators and tell them they need to get some guide, like the bumpers in the bowling alley, for beginners. We need some guide rails on this to say what regulation that says what you can use it for and what you can't, so that there's something, because right now there's just nothing. It's just whoever invents it and throws it out in the market. That's what they can do. There's no regulation.
Wow, this is amazing. So now, with that being said, and we know that this threat is real, what should we do about it?
Well, I think you just need to make sure you're applying some common sense to situations. Um, the same as currently, like with the phishing attacks that go on currently. Um, they target older people. They like to create drama and catch you off guard and get you when you're not thinking straight and get you to act real quick. You get these where you get the emails or the text messages saying, the Social Security Administration is going to disable your Social Security number if you don't call them right now and get it fixed or whatever. But if you think about this, especially older people, in 50 years, I've never had the Social Security Administration call me up if there's a problem. Same thing like with the IRS. If you got a problem with your taxes, 3 years later, you get a letter in the mail telling them you owe them $20,000 or $30,000 in back fees, and you got to call them to straighten it out. They don't call you and tell you something's wrong.
Right, right.
Weird phone calls from the IRS or the Social Security Administration or whatever saying, hey, you need to, pay us $29, in gift cards or a credit card real quick and we'll fix it for you. That stuff is just, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where you want to just apply some of that common sense. And if you do think it may be legit, you can always ignore that message and go to the Social Security Administration or the IRS's website, or the Social Security Administration website, or if it's like your local bank, go to your bank's website, and they'll have a message that they sent to you on that website. And if they don't, then it probably wasn't a legit message you got in your text.
Right, right. Going back on that subject, what happened to me, I ended up looking at a video, right? I went through the whole thing with this bank, and they did everything step by step. And I knew they were legit because I called them. My card was done. They cut my card off, and I called them basically to get everything straightened out. So I know that was legit. However, I saw a video like this week, and the lady went through the exact same thing. They got her for a whole bunch of money, her retirement money. But the thing is, the steps were the exact same, and it was the same bank.
Right. Because what they do is, think about how often do you edit Word documents where you just cut and paste? I mean, it's easy. I can take a legitimate email from my bank that says do this, this, and this, cut and paste it, stick a different little logo on it, even make up a website that's, whatever. Instead of Bank of America, it's, maybe Bank of America, but the O is spelled with a 0. So that's a totally different domain name and website. But to you looking at it, you just think it's from Bank of America. So you go right to it and do your thing. And that's why I always recommend some of the biggest safety things is when you get those messages, either text or email, if it's on the computer, it's real easy. And hover your mouse over it and it'll show up down in the bottom corner of your browser of where it's getting ready to send you. And if that's not the same place that you think you're going to go, don't click that button.
Don't click it. Don't click it. That's amazing. So your work is, I'm telling you, you small business, but I don't see you being small business for long because you are in high demand right now. And so, so how does that work for you? I mean, you're solopreneur, or do you have help?
No, it's just me. Right now, I keep a kind of a low volume, and but I have hopefully if my volume of clients increases enough, I'll start bringing on more staff. I won't ever really grow too big. It's kind of my mission is to stay small. So I may hire 2 or 3 employees, but I'm not going to become I don't want to be one of those nationwide franchise corporation things. I'm trying to stay small on purpose because I need to stay for me to be able to adequately protect small businesses. I need to be a small business and deal with the same things they're dealing with. I mean, I have the same dangers that you have, kind of a thing. So I can relate and know exactly. And also I have the same inconveniences, because some of these things, I mean, if you really, really, really want to make yourself safe, you take all your electronics, stick them in a lead box and bury it 6 feet deep in your backyard and it's good.